And we're back. You're listening to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm Stevie C, and I'm joined with Ace Hosthor and Mark Ramone. And we just heard Andy Jaffe with Whole Town from Manhattan Projection. And before that, we heard Chris Bakriges with Blue Book from Clear and Present. And we started off with Phil Woods with Charles Christopher from I Remember 1978. Let's start with Phil Woods.
Wow, that's quite something.
From Springfield.
I really love the solo. I really love the big band flair for the main hook of this track. It's quite bold and very appropriate. I think this album's dedicated to Charlie Parker, right?
Yep. Phil Woods was born and raised in Springfield. And as a teenager, he'd commute to New York City for lessons and then come back. And then he studied at the Juilliard School and then found his way to the New York jazz scene. And then Quincy Jones invited him to accompany Dizzy Gillespie on a world tour.
Wow. For
the U.S. State Department. And then he toured Russia with Benny Goodman.
That's incredible.
All that hard work paid off then. Riding down to New York City and back. Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. He played with a lot of people, and people. He was compared a lot with Bird because he was kind of associated with him in that way, but he also was kind of like Cannonball Adderley and Monk, Thelonious Monk, in the way he played. But maybe his best known recorded work was as a sideman on Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are, 1977. Really? He plays the alto sax on that.
That's sick.
Yeah. And he also played sax on Steely Dan's Dr. Wu.
Go Phil.
He's been around. He moved to France and he wrote a lot of different scores for Danish and Belgian radio. He's just so random. And then a ballet for French television. Interesting guy, Phil Woods.
True legend. And then Chris Bakriges with the Chris Bakriges Quartet. This is lovely. This is incredibly lovely. It feels so nice.
Isn't it? It's just a really lovely track. And I don't know. Chris Bakriges is a very lovely guy, and he plays here with Avery Sharp on the bass and Billy Arnold on the drums and Jay Hoggard on the vibes, and they're all wonderful musicians.
Yeah, he's been in Brattleboro, Vermont since the 90s, and he's quite the pianist.
Quite the pianist, and he's been all over the world. He's of Greek heritage, and he loves the Mediterranean feel of music, and then he got into the African culture and found musical storytelling through that. And he was really influenced by McCoy Tyner and Randy Weston and Abdullah Ibrahim. So he's just really interesting, and he teaches. And he lectures at Elms College here in Western Mass. And he recently served as an artist in residence in the studio for interrelated media at Mass Art in Boston. He's been around.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Andy Jaffe.
Yeah.
With Whole Town. That is an interesting track. Like, you can casually listen to that all day and it's not a problem. But my ears, because I actually have like a little bit of jazz training, know exactly how complicated that progression was. There were some really wild changes in there. I'm terrified.
That's Andy Jaffe for you. He's from Conway, Mass, and he's been around here for a long, long time. He's the artist in residence in jazz at Williams College. Well, I guess I should say the Lyle B. Clay Artist in Residence. And he's from 1999 to 2010, he was the artistic director of the Williamstown Jazz Festival.
He's taught at a lot of places.
Everywhere. Yeah, he teaches a lot of different places. He's on the faculty of the Vermont College of Fine Arts.
He taught at Berkeley. He taught at UMass Amherst. He taught in France. He taught in Amherst College, Smith College. Yeah.
He's great. He used to play all the time at First Night in Northampton. And I so looked forward to seeing Andy Jaffe and who he brought as musicians. It was always a wonderful, wonderful set that they did. We're lucky to have him.
So, what do we have next?
Oh, next we have electronic and some instrumental. And we're starting off with Lighthearted Head, Lightheaded Heart with Tensile Test.